Hi, I am Sakali, this is Falcon Notes, and today I'm going to be going over the first unit of AP Human Geography. Now, this unit was all about learning key ideas and vocabulary. Map skills refer to parts of our globe and how our Earth is usually portrayed. Reference maps are the usual maps that show cities, boundaries, borders, mountains, roads, and things like that. We went over cartography, the science of making maps, as we did make many of our own maps. Making our own Earth on a flat map is an example of projection and how we distort the globe in order for it to make sense on a flat plane. The most common type of projection is the Robinson projection. Now, getting into the rest of map vocabulary. We know most of the vocabulary from our earlier school experience, but I'm going to go over it anyway. Meridians are arcs drawn on maps, going from North to South Pole. There are two main meridians, the International Dateline and the Prime Meridian. Now, the International Dateline is the meridian that divides time zones. When you cross it, you go back an entire 24 hours or one entire day. If you cross it at 6:54, for example, on July 7th, the date changes to July 6th at the same time, 6:54. This concept has to do with time zones. On a map or globe, a time zone is 15 degrees, or 1,035 miles. Every time zone is at a different hour because of its location relative to the sun. The parallels are lines that signify latitude or are horizontal and are parallel to the equator. Now, we spent a couple of days on demographics, but we will definitely get back into those next unit. Demographics are quantifiable statistics of a particular country, for example, life expectancy. Cultural landscape is a visible imprint of human activity and culture. These things are shown through buildings, artifacts, clothing, and things that are visible. We focused a lot on site and situation. Site, as you may know, is the physical character of a place. Exact location. Situation is the location of a place relative to other places, like next to the pizza place or across the street from school. There are three types of maps. There are reference maps, mental maps, and thematic maps. Since we already talked about reference maps, we'll talk about mental maps. Now, mental maps are made in the brain. Sounds weird, but that's what it is. Mental maps are based on what a person knows. A mental map contains personal impressions of what the place is and where it is located. Like to me, Seattle is home, but some other people only see it as a rainy coffee city. Moreover, thematic maps are a map's highlight of a particular feature like temperature or acreage of potatoes. There are many types of thematic maps, like Iceland, chloropleth, and dot maps, which all fall under the category of thematic map. Now, moving away from maps, we go into the concept of scale. In order to understand scale, we need to look at different examples of scale. Map scale is the ratio from the map to the actual surface of the world, whereas geographic scale is more of a general term that applies to the conceptual hierarchy of spaces, from large to small. For an example of this, we'll be going over the large scale of Arizona to a smaller scale like Phoenix. Just one city, smaller scale. We spent a day on regionalization, so I will go over that in about a half a minute. Region is a manageable unit of study used to organize groups of places. Globalization will fit in more with diffusion, but it has to do with actions or processes that involve the entire world and result in making something worldwide in scope. Moving on to diffusion, we talked about it through a McDonald's diffusion assignment. Diffusion is the spreading of a feature or trend from one place to another over time. There are different types of diffusion that we learned about. To start though, we talk about hearths, where an idea originates. I'm going to go over all the diffusions in a very short period of time, so I'm going to be talking pretty fast. Relocation is the spread of a feature or trend through physical movement of people from one place to another. Expansion diffusion is the spread of among people from one area to another. Hierarchical diffusion is the spread of a trend from one node of authority to another. Contagious diffusion is the rapid spread of a trend or idea. Stimulus diffusion is the spread of parts of an idea because specific parts of said idea is rejected. Some other things that we learned with diffusion is distance decay, the diminishing in importance of a phenomenon with increasing distance from its origin. So what it's basically saying is the further the idea is away from the hearth, the less important it is. Space-time compression is the reduction of time it takes to diffuse something to a distant place. Finally, our miscellaneous ideas we learned in class, just so we know for later. Environmental determinism states that the physical terrain of the world dictates how the humans survive. So the better the terrain, the more likely you are to live. Possibilism is the theory that states that the physical environment can put limits on human actions. It also states that humans can overcome physical problem or feature. So, culture ecology shows the relationship and interaction between culture and the environment. You can see an example of this in Native American cultures where they believe all things had a soul, like that creepy talking tree from Pocahontas. Finally, sequent occupancy, the notion that successive societies leave their cultural imprints on the place. We didn't go over this in detail, so I don't think it's that important. Well, there you have it, folks. That about wraps up Unit 1 of Human Geography. If this video helped, leave a like and subscribe. If you have any questions or want to help me out with this channel, leave a comment down below. All my information comes from the Unit 1 study guide and Chapter 1 of the Human Geography books. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.